We'll begin our day on the diamond. I'm sure by now you know the Aggies almost got swept by Auburn. Doubleheader Saturday. It was ugly. Game 1 was 18-5. There's not a redeeming thing you could say about that. I lied. Gavin Grahovic was redeeming. He hit 2 homers, 2 for 3, 3 RBIs, but that was it. Shane Sdao was rough. He had a couple of outings where he wasn't bad, but this was awful. He lasted an inning. He took the mound in the second, didn't record an out. 4 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks. It was bad. Grant Cunningham, I think it's official. He will not be counted on any further. He had like that 2-week stretch where you saw signs of hope. 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. And it just got worse from there. And unfortunately, when it's a doubleheader, I feel like this game, that start, just carried over. It's how Auburn put up 5 in the first 3. Now, in the second game of the doubleheader, the Aggies chipped away, but they got into a 5-0 hole. 5-0 hole, mid-3. Final was 5-4, but, that was the Aggies just trying to fight back, but came up short. So Auburn won the series on Saturday, doubleheader, and you just, Aggies have had that Friday night game 1 struggle because they've had Sdao starting on that Friday. It's been a very stubborn stance from Earley and the coaching staff. I mean, they're a top 10 team. They're going to host a regional. Right now, Aggie baseball is 8 in the RPI. They're in position to host a super. They're going to host a regional. So do you argue with that success? It's a nice bounce back season no matter what from last year, but the Sdao on Friday has been very stubborn. And in this case, I think it cost you 2 games, to be fair. You obviously, gave up 18, but I think the momentum carried over in this doubleheader case. 5-4 was the final in the second game. They put up, they continued their red-hot hitting. Aiden Sims had his poorest start in SEC play. Period of the year, I believe, but I didn't check every start, but definitely SEC play. Not going to say a bad thing. The way he's pitched, he's allowed to have 1 start that he doesn't look like an All-American. Gavin Lyons was the storyline of this game. In relief, 4-0, 2 hits only. And I like to think that Gavin Lyons gave you the momentum heading into the next day. Something finally turned your way. Someone finally turned your way. I think Gavin Lyons finally put some doubt into the Auburn bats. He was exactly what you needed to stop the Tiger flood. I think he helped set up what happened on Sunday, because it was Auburn's pitching is what they led with, but their offense, 18 runs in the first game, 5 through the first 3. Gavin Lyons, I like to think, set up what happened on Sunday. And Sunday, it got ugly late, but for the first 8 innings, this was a feel-good. You could walk away from the weekend, not just, we avoided the sweep, but really feel positive about things. Weston Moss, 6 1/3 through 6. He had a perfect game going. Through 6, it was a perfect game. And he gave up a hit. They pulled him. In the end, the run came around. But it was a phenomenal start. Aggie offense puts up a run in the first. They didn't score again for a while, but it didn't matter. Getting the lead. You basically have been trailing for 18 innings leading into game 3. And to score in the first, have the lead at the end of 1, and the way Weston Moss was pitching, got to breathe, took the pressure off. Perfect Perfect through 6 he was. In the end, got the dub. Great start. Fresh Corn was coming in for another one of those 3-inning saves. Wore down late. Got hit. Like 4 straight singles. That was the key. 4 straight singles. If there were any doubles or extra base hits in this, they might still be playing. And the Aggies salvaged the third game. They did the thing we talked about that you have to do in league play to be a contender, etc., and just don't get swept. It felt like a disappointing weekend. They lost. Of course, it's disappointing, but more than that, because they were at home. I talk about signs of good to great teams, things like that, and you don't lose at home. I know Auburn's a top 10 team, and if you watch like I watched, and I got to watch or listen to all 3 games. So, caught it all. Auburn's a really good team. But I always like to think in my head, but so are you. And if you're at home, that's the tiebreaker, and you should win 2 out of 3. Period. End of conversation. No excuses, please. But you're still throwing Sdao in your first game, and it came back to just haunt you in a doubleheader format. Just came back to haunt you. So a very disappointing weekend down the stretch. I think the odds of catching, and remember, Georgia is in first. Georgia increased their lead, and with 2 weekends to go, and I think Georgia has Missouri as their final series. Georgia's your SEC champs, barring the unlikely. Personally, doesn't really bother me. I really think at this point there's 2 things relevant for Aggie baseball. 1, host a super, RPI. The Aggies this morning are 8 in the RPI. That's the last host slot. You're in that bubble slot where if the committee wanted to bump you by 1, they could find any excuse in the world. The Aggies are 8 in the RPI. That's the bubble slot. That's the committee can willy-nilly you. That's not guaranteed. 7 right in front of them, Florida State, and right behind them is 9, and that's Mississippi State. Guess who the last 2 series of the year are for the Aggies? They got Ole Miss on the road, Oxford this weekend, and they end at home with Mississippi State. And what if you end up playing your final series of the year against Mississippi State? And it'll be something like the winner might end up hosting a super. That's the kind of thing. So, yeah, that's the only 2 things for me I'm worried about for Aggie. Winning the SEC title, don't care. Get the double bye in the SEC tournament. Less games good heading into the NCAA tournament. Less games good. So be it, was it top 4 get double bye? And number 2, hosting the super. Hosting the super. So, and Aggies are 8 now in the RPI. So going back over the weekend, Grahovic goes bomb 2. Game 1, Sorrell goes yard, Weston Moss, beast mode, and then Hakopian on Sunday. So right now, Sims, Lyon, Weston Moss has been really good. They keep doing the TBA, TBD on Sunday. They haven't had to throw Moss earlier. I wonder if Moss really would be used earlier. They keep saying they'll do whatever they have to win each game at a time. The pitching staff is so thin. Question. Don't they have to just throw Moss on Friday? Because Sims, they're going to leave on Saturday. They don't want to throw him against the other Friday starter. But you can't keep throwing Sdao on Friday. At this point, if they're so convinced that he's just a start away, look at his stuff and strikeout rate, and they know he's a starter. Isn't it better to pitch him against the other team's 3 versus starting every Friday kind of with a loss in the hole? Why wouldn't you pitch him against the other Sunday starter where tons of runs are expected anyway by both teams? That's just kind of my thought process on this thing. I don't think you can afford to just keep doing Sdao on Fridays. If you want to keep him in the rotation because of your belief in him, Sunday versus him, I think puts you at the greatest non-competitive disadvantage. Yeah, I know it's one start for Moss, and all of a sudden I'm like, throw him on Fridays. Look, you don't have a Friday starter. Someone has to start Fridays. Quit throwing the starter that puts you at the biggest disadvantage. That's all I'm saying. So, and I think that's the great debate. When you get to the postseason, in a regional, you don't need Aiden Sims on Friday. Easily you throw Moss. And then even in a super, you still don't want to throw Sims on Friday. It's still Weston Moss. And game 3 is going to be all hands on deck anyway, right? So, I think that's... And why wait? Why not start working on your regional, super regional now versus, we'll just keep throwing Sdao. That's what I think you have to approach going forward. And again, just keep doing this and cost yourself a super host. I think an adjustment should be needed. I'll share something with you. If you take a look at the worst ERAs among qualified SEC pitchers, what does qualified SEC pitchers mean? At least one inning pitched per team game played. If you look at conference play only, Shane Sdao has the worst ERA of any pitcher in the SEC at 9.74. And then if you look at overall, he has the second worst ERA of any pitcher at 6.55. So it's kind of like any way you try and chop it up, a change is needed. And again, they believe in him. I don't want to argue that. Believe in him against another Sunday starter and not on your Friday nights is what I would say at this point. Well, actually, I think I said that about a month ago, but believe in him on Sundays would be a better shot at this. I need a timeout. You might have a thought or an opinion or two on this. Feel free to share. Text 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. You can light up the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. It's the Louie Bellina Show. Oh, man, we're just getting started. It is the Louie Bellina Show, Monday edition on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Don't ask unless you want the truth, because
you can't handle the truth.
Weekdays, 11 to 2 on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show. It is Monday, and we're just getting started. The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. 11:35, a listen in Aggie baseball with Weston Moss and Michael Earley. 11:55, high school sports update, thanks to Kelly Bertozer. 12 o'clock, Mitch Light of the Athletic College Baseball Roundup. And we take a look at the Athletic Top 25. We also talk about more things. Mitch Light on the D4 Land Services Hotline. The ticket booth will open up at 1:20. I've got Astros tickets. If you are zone prize eligible and you or anyone in your family has never won Astros tickets anywhere on Brian Broadcasting before, listen in to win. Also, I got to listen in the 1 o'clock hour. Top 10 quarterbacks for 2026. College football. Top 10 quarterbacks for 2026. So we're really just getting started. What would you do to fix the weekend rotation for Aggie baseball? I don't really think you can just keep trotting Sdao out there. I don't think they want to throw Aiden Sims on Friday, even though he's the best pitcher. They don't have a Friday starter on the team, fine, but I don't think you can keep just kind of punting your game ones. I really do. I don't think you can keep punting your game ones. I don't think that's the way forward either. If you want to throw Moss on Fridays, I know, one start. I'm not saying he's a Friday starter, and let Sdao learn, continue to work. They believe in him. He'll figure it out, but do it on Sundays instead. Do you want to throw Moss on Friday? Lions now starts on Sundays, but then who do you have out of the pen? It's problematic because you don't have, if you had an easy answer, if you had a correct answer and an obvious answer, then there wouldn't be a question. Okay? That's the problem. We also have, this is from Anonymous. And, we'll talk more about it later. But they said the Savannah Bananas was just amazing. Aggie Spirit was in the house, and it was a night to remember. Run it back next year, please. We'll talk about the Savannah Bananas game. But if you were at Aggie Baseball Game 2, my understanding was if you were at Bluebell Olson, you heard everything that happened at the Savannah Bananas game because you heard the music and all of it just across the street with 102,000 was my understanding. And yeah, if you went to the Savannah Bananas game, please text me. I do want to start hearing how the experience was for you. Because we're going to talk about that probably about 12:35 if you really want me to be exact. We'll talk about the Savannah Bananas at Kyle Field. That was definitely an event. It wasn't just a baseball game. It was never advertised as a baseball game. It always was advertised as banana ball. No one ever said it was a baseball game. It was banana ball, Savannah Bananas experience is what it was. And from my understanding, that's exactly what you got. And it was awesome and epic. But thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate the text message. 979-693-1150. Back to Aggie Baseball, back on the diamond. They got 7 games left in the regular season. They got Prairie View tomorrow, final non-con. On the road, Ole Miss. Huge weekend. Ole Miss is 13 in the RPI, and you get bonus RPI on the road. They need to win 2 out of 3. Lock down the super. Then they're going to be at home, Mississippi State. Mississippi State just lost 2 out of 3 to Texas, and it was a heated series. Their head coach at Mississippi State got tossed, not happy, garbage strike zone. Texas got some gracious calls behind the plate. Man, the strike zone for A&M and Auburn was trash. But, trash both ways. It's just trash. We all know this, but raise your hand. Do you want to see ABS, the automated ball strike system, in college? I know I do. I want to see ABS be the strike zone full-time in MLB, not just a challenge system. I want it to be the system. I want it all to be called by the ABS system. I don't want it to be a challenge system. How awesome would it be to not have a home plate umpire? B, I do want to see college use the ABS challenge system to begin with. There's so much bad behind the plate. Oh, Aggie baseball is down to 7 games. Final midweek Prairie View, Ole Miss, Oxford, and it's road. Go get you 2 out of 3. Get that road RPI, and then Mississippi State. Aggies are still second in the SEC in the standings. But like I said, and we're talking about what they should do at the regular season. There is no obvious, easy answer for the regional. You assume they're going to, that Friday night in a regional, they can do whatever. What do you do in a super? Who starts game 1 of a super? Everyone's saying it's like Aiden Sim. So instead of starting them Fridays now, so he's used to that game 1 pressure. Oh, you'll just do it in a super. That's not something he should have experience dealing with, going against other teams' ace. Why wouldn't you start him now on Friday so that when it's game 1 of a super, that same concept pressure, he's been there, done that, that'll be the first time? I don't. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know why you'd wait for a super for that to be his first game 1 start. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. That's just kind of my 18 cents and no change on the concepts in play. I do want to stay on the diamond and briefly go over to Davis Diamond. Aggie softball ended their regular season. They're hosting the number 1 team in the country, Oklahoma. And, we were here Friday, and I had to have a abbreviated edition, not very, because Aggie softball resumed their game number 1 at 12:40, pregame 12:50, and we had it here on the zone. And one of the greatest wins of the year, scoring like 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th when they resumed the game, and they beat OU 8-5. It was one of the best wins of the year. It was incredible. But that was it, because then Oklahoma swept the doubleheader on Saturday. Saturday was a miserable day if you're a Diamond Sports fan like me. Absolutely miserable day. 4-3, Oklahoma wins the first game of the doubleheader Saturday. And Oklahoma, 3 runs, top of the 4th. Aggie offense consisted of one inning only, and that was the bottom of the 5th. OU with a run in the 6th, 4-3 final. Tight game. Aggies actually out-hit them. Oklahoma made a couple of errors. Difference between the two teams. When A&M made 2 errors, OU had like 5 unearned. That was the Friday game, but still. Oklahoma made a couple of unearned, and Aggies didn't make them pay. And when you get a 4-out inning, a 5-out inning, you've got to sweep the leg. You got to go for the throat. Couldn't do it. I feel like getting 2 errors to none. And this is how I always felt like with the elite end in softball. If it's like 2 top 10 teams, when you're evenly matched, you should win 10 times out of 10. You know, one team played with 21 outs, the other one with 23. Got to beat them. Highlights, Taylor Edwards, 4 for 4 and a home run. The final game of the day, I told you it's doubleheader. OU puts up 4 in the first. They cruise at home. Aggies, it's 6-4 final, but, it's 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Late rally. You're trying to score 6 to tie, 7 to win. Come up too short. Nice effort. Never give up. One of those things. And that's one of the, I don't know if it's a motto, a mantra. I don't know if they have T-shirts. But that is one thing about this Aggie softball team. Not sure if you've been watching all year, but they do have fight. How do you think they got 5 when you come back from the resumed game and they put up 5 in the 6th there? This team does fight to the last drop of blood, last out. They have all year, every time. And sure, it was 6-0, but it doesn't mean they thought it was over. And 6-4 final. But OU put up 4 in the top of the first, pretty much, fought back from there. Taylor Pennell, I remember when they announced she was transferring. And I remember going, this is exactly what they're going to need with this pitching staff this year. Because they're not going to have an ace. They're not going to have the one pitcher that throws 7 innings or, she can do 5 on Friday and then 5 on Sunday. That level of ace. They didn't have one. But when they got Pennell, All-American closer, someone that can close out that Friday, Sunday, maybe combo the other pitchers. I thought she was the most brilliant signing, and I wish I knew the story. I wish I knew what happened. All-American closer, and it has not happened this year. Again, I wish I knew what the story was. Difference in philosophies. There's with pitchers, the number of things that it can be are infinite. And that's why I don't even like to escalate with pitchers, but it is astounding. I pointed out because she appeared, and I don't think she took the loss in this one, but again, 3 innings, 2 runs, 4 walks. I mean, she shot, and I wish I knew what happened. Aggie softball, done with the regular season. They're going to open up SEC tournament play on Wednesday. 9:45 pregame a.m., 10 o'clock first pitch. You'll hear that game on Willie 1550 a.m. and at radioaggieland.com. They will play the winner of Auburn, Missouri, because the SEC tournament begins on Tuesday. So Auburn, Missouri play Tuesday. Aggies Wednesday, 10 a.m. play the winner of Auburn, Missouri. You can listen to the game on Willie 1550 a.m. Aggie softball is in this bizarrely delicate spot. Their RPI is 16. In theory, that means they'd host a regional as the very last host site at 16. Committee behavior indicates that if they need to add a host site that doesn't make sense so that regionally speaking part of the country is covered, A&M will get bumped. In theory, if you just straight follow the 16 locations, A&M would be the 9th SEC host, which they've done. You can't happen. all year long, if you listened and hung out with me, I always said, don't be the 10th, don't be the 10th. That wouldn't be the 10th. Subtle difference. But let's say they don't have anyone, they need a second West Coast. Stanford 17. Only UCLA, well, Oregon. I got two. See, it's really, they need someone else on the East Coast. They got nobody in the, the committee does things like that. So 16 is bad. It doesn't mean no. That's just a very delicate position to be in. You'd rather be 14. And that doesn't put you in a bubble spot. But when you're 16 and the 9th from the SEC, you've allowed the committee to, if they need to, if they want an excuse, yeah, you're in a delicate spot. So go get you a couple. They can't afford to lose to Auburn, Missouri. Both those teams are mutts. They need to win at least probably 2. Because the Thursday game would be against a good RPI opponent. So Aggie softball, SEC tournament, that's what's next. Wednesday at 10 on Willie 1550 AM and RadioAgland.com. When we come back, that Aggie baseball listening, that's what's next here on the Louie Bellina Show. I'm inside the Charles Schwab studio Monday on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show.
Let the broadcasting of the Disturbed continue.
Fun is not optional.
Darn it.
Weekdays 11 to 2 on The Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. Time now, the Listen In Aggie Baseball edition. How about we start with the head coach, Michael Earley, after the victory Sunday against Auburn.
Coach, with all the ups and downs in the weekend and also in Weston's entire season, how do you put into perspective what he went out there and gave you guys in this ballgame?
It's a remarkable job. He carried us today. Just unbelievable performance by him. One we needed, one he needed, one we need for him as we carried through. But yeah, I mean, he was incredible today. I mean, super proud of him.
What allowed him to be so successful and pitch into the seventh?
You know, you saw it in his last outing too. He was commanding pitches for strikes. He just happened to do it a little longer. So I mean, he was competitive and he was just completely in control of himself and the strike zone and the game. Like he did I can't say enough good things, man. That was a freaking unbelievable effort by him and one that was needed and an awesome show of resilience, not only by him but the team in general.
And then what went into the decision to lift him with one out in the seventh?
You know, he hadn't been up there quite as much, a little longer than he's been. We thought I just thought he looked tired. I thought he looked tired. And then, as Fralick was coming up, he's hitting over 400 against righties, a lot different against left-handers. So, we didn't want to be a batter late. And, Darden came in and got that guy out and got the job done there. But, yeah, man, I don't know what he was his last outing. He just looked a little gassed.
What have you seen that maybe people haven't in the middle of the week from Weston, where he gets moved from that Saturday role, but he's still able to come out on Sundays and has put together the performance?
He hasn't changed his mindset and about being about the team. That's not always easy to hear because he's competitive, but he's just continued to try to get better, and it definitely shows.
How gritty has Chris been this weekend? He's not 100%, but still able to get a ball out of the park that ends up being the difference in a game like that.
Huge. He's a. I've said it a million times, but he's a really tough kid. He's a team guy, and he's a really good player. So he's just struggling. Can't run his full speed, but that was never the carrying tool for him anyway. So we're gonna just keep getting him healthier and healthier day by day, so we get him back out of second base.
And what are you, from your perspective, what are you feeling? What are you seeing during the ninth inning as Auburn tries to pull off a rally?
I was just waiting for us to get them to hit to a double play at the end. I knew it was coming. I thought I was going to go to short, but it went to second, so I was a little wrong there. But I had complete belief in Freshman. They had a couple, credit to them, they put it in play and got some balls on. So I believe in the law of averages in this game, and I knew something was bound to go our way.
I know it's a long time ago, but Gavin's delayed steal there in that first inning. Was that called, or was that just something he saw there?
It wasn't a delayed steal. It was just something. Something within the game, and he didn't see it. He didn't see it the right way, but it worked out. So he did one thing right there, though. He should not have went. But when you go, you go. You'll see a lot of guys a lot of times try to stop. Odds of you getting out in a rundown are 99%, I'm sure. So it's so he did that correct. You make a pitcher throw a ball to third base, so there's a positive on that note.
You said that you knew that double play was coming. Is that just pitch calling, coach's intuition?
I was being a little facetious. I wanted it, so I think I probably wanted it more than I knew. But I have complete faith in Clayton Freshcorn on the mound and the guys out there on the field. So it just happened to be hit right at a guy, and then we had to make the play.
Did y'all learn any more about how Nico's doing and how long he might be out for?
We won't know that today. He's obviously pulled something, so we got to get that. We'll get it looked at tomorrow and move forward. So I don't know the severity of it. I mean, he's walking around. He's not bruised up, but we want to make sure we get him healthy and get him back for the end of the season.
I heard you say that every single SEC game matters and every single game counts the same. So after winning this one in what turned out to be a dogfight, but now you've got 15 wins with 2 weeks to play, how are you feeling?
We need to keep grabbing them. That's why I told him, and we talk about it all the time. Yes, there's a series for sure. We did not win the series at home. We always want to do that, but it's just grabbing one of those 30 wins when you can. And we had to grab one today. You just want to keep, play it game by game. We got a game Tuesday, but these conference games are so tough. As you can see, we lost. We had one game that got out of hand. Wasn't a game. Lost a one-run game. Won a one-run game. Just got to keep grabbing because they're really hard to get.
How satisfying are one-run wins to you as a head coach?
I don't know if they're satisfying, but I'm now 45 years old after that one. But it would, I just like to win in general. I'd prefer to win by 5 or 6, but I'll take those one-run wins.
A&M baseball head coach Michael Earley. We continue the listening Aggie baseball edition with Weston Moss, who was absolutely brilliant on Sunday. Again, he was El Perfecto, man. Perfect through 6. Here is Weston Moss.
Well, you definitely didn't take it easy on Auburn. So what was working for you today that you were able to get in that groove?
Pitches-wise, it was, fastball, sinker, changeup. I think we went cutter a couple times. First guy of the game, threw a nice cutter there, 3-2. He wasn't expecting it. Just let it fall down the middle.
How have you kind of handled these last 3 weeks where you moved off the Saturday spot, but you've had some good outings on those Sunday starts?
I'm enjoying it. I like the position I'm in. I think towing the rubber, no matter what day, is the same. So, I just, don't think much about it. Compete.
When pitchers and athletes are working on something great like you were today, they often talk about entering the zone. So my question is, did you enter that little realm that us mere mortals can't? And how did it feel if you did?
Yeah, today I just was looking down. I towed the rubber and then I'd look at bear. That's pretty much it. I was thinking about nothing. But one pitch at a time. I just, tunnel vision, pretty much. That's what it was.
How are you able to enter that tunnel vision that you speak of when there's almost 7,000 screaming people and there's a lot of anxious nerves given how the earlier part of the weekend had gone?
Just control the mental game. Just think less. Do more. That's how it is. I think that just the mental part of the game is what's been slowing me down this year, and I think the last three games have been good. Just go out there and have fun. Really, my one goal, my one objective is to win, and no matter what my stat line is, we win in the 9th inning. It's over. I'm good.
You're coming off the mound and the crowd's cheering for you. You tip your cap. What was that moment like? And take us through it.
It felt good. It's been a while. Not the year I dreamed of, but I'm just stay locked in. I know the people here love me. They love us. They love the players. But sometimes when you're not succeeding, they start talking a little bit. But I think it felt rewarding. I felt like I deserved that. Been through a lot recently, and I think that was it felt great.
Going off that, you were pretty hyped when you were leaving the mound. What was the mindset during that moment?
I was just proud of myself. I think, like I said, the mental game has been the hardest part, and I think I completely dominated it. A+, so I was just, really happy.
Just curious, that first at-bat that you had in the very first inning, you got to an 0-2 and then it went to 3-2 and you got the strikeout. I'm just curious, was that a big at-bat for you? And if so, just what did it do for you getting that one?
It felt good. I feel like I've had that, trouble with 2 strikes, throwing uncompetitive pitches. And, and when I do, I make the last pitch. I think, we got 3-2, but I struggled out. So, didn't think much about it, but, felt good to strike him out.
You talk about some of the things you've had to overcome this season. I'm just curious, maybe away from the game or the baseball field, is there anything that's kept you level or grounded through that to persevere in those moments?
I think God is testing, me for sure. He's putting my back against the wall. He's, making me humble, making me grateful for the things that I have off the field. And I think I just trust his plan. That's what I'm doing. I'm just trusting his plan. This world, it's up and down. But I think if you stick with God, stick with your family, people you love, I think that's where it is. You gotta keep your mind at it.
What can taking a game, after a day like team had yesterday, to come back with a win like this, what does it do for a team moving forward?
That's great. I mean, salvage a series, but I think, getting swept is not good. So I like my role. I like going out and competing. But yeah, it was a big game. Real happy we won it. It's a good team, a really good team. And my Petrovic, the starter, we played, growing up. He did good, that 3-run home run, whatever. But he did real good, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I was going to ask, him being from Cypress, Tomball area, went to Concordia Lutheran.
Yeah, we played travel ball together.
Okay.
Growing up. Yeah.
Which travel team were you all on?
Premier baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get to talk to him after the game?
No, not really. But I wish I could. But if I think I have his phone number. I'll give him a text. So good job.
That was Weston Moss, part of our Aggie baseball listening. Before that, head coach Michael Earley. We'll take a timeout, come back. High school sports update, 11:55. That's thanks to Kelly Berdozer. And, Major League Baseball tonight is going to have one of its funnest nights of the year. It's been a tradition for quite some time. We'll discuss that and more. It is the Louie Bellina Show. What is? This is the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, Monday on the Zone.
Your home for the Houston Astros is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
So, for those that are initiated, May 4th is May the 4th be with you. It is Star Wars Day. I am a Star Wars geek. I'm a Star Wars nerd, whatever phraseology you wish to put upon it, unabashedly so. I grew up Star Wars, New Hope. I was like 10, 11, whatever it was. One of those who thought it was the greatest thing ever. Better than the wheel, better than cheese. No, okay. Was it better than cheese? No, that's too close to call. But Star Wars rocks. That I am one of those. In Major League Baseball, MLB, Star Wars night is kind of a holy holiday. Tonight, 29 of the 30 MLB teams, all except Toronto, are organizing Star Wars night as one of their home games. I say tonight, that's not possible. 29 of the 30 MLB teams. Like if they're not home tonight, over the weekend, or the next time they're home, but 29 of the 30 MLB teams do a Star Wars night as one of their home games. The San Diego Padres, they've been doing Star Wars night since 2015. It is something that they do entire Star Wars weekends, and they've done it since 2022. They did a bobblehead doll for Obi-Wan Kenobi for Juan Soto in 2023. Nando Calrissian for Fernando Tatis in 2024. San Diego Padres have embraced. They've done Star Wars themed luxury suites. So the San Diego Padres are as Star Wars nights as it can be. It's true. They bring in the nonprofit, like the 501 First Legion, the Saber Guild, the Mandalorian Mercs. These are the dress-up people that live it year-round. They do all kinds of events. MLB has been down with Star Wars forever. If you've ever seen the Star Wars lightsaber bats, Death Stars above stadiums, Mandalorian batting helmets, it's a thing. It is so a thing. 29 of the 30 will do Star Wars themed nights. Now, the true origin of a Star Wars night in sports remains a mystery. There is a belief that if we go back to the release of New Hope in 1977, around that time there was a Cleveland Force. It was a major indoor soccer league team. And they used a Darth Vader and some music from Star Wars to pump up the crowd. So that allegedly, rumors have it, that was the first instance of Star Wars appearing at a sporting event. The Cleveland Force, a major indoor soccer league team. Now, if we're looking for maybe the first, official, May 19, 2005, the Lake Elsinore Storm, it's a single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres again. On the same day that Revenge of the Sith was released, they did a big event and everything. Some believe that it was the first Star Wars themed night at a sports game. May 19, 2005, Lake Elsinore Storm. In 2006, the West Michigan Whitecaps, single-A high affiliate of the Tigers, were the first minor league team to directly work with Lucasfilms on a Star Wars themed night. Lucasfilms, that's as official as they'll get with Star Wars. Now, this one is really cool. I know who Dave Filoni is. He is the George Lucas spirit heir apparent, carrying forward the spirit essence of Star Wars. And it started in 2017 and continues to today. For Dave Filoni, Lucasfilm chief creative director, he is a huge Pittsburgh sports fan, and he does these baby pen Star Wars night jerseys every year. Inspired, he is Star Wars by him. So, sports, Star Wars nights, Major League Baseball, it's a thing. It is such a thing. And today is May 4th. When I was a wee lad, Star Wars was New Hope. The first one took the whole universe by storm. And a neighbor of mine, and this is when we live in different times. So what I'm about to say is like speaking Japanese to a lot of people, but unless you speak Japanese, then you'd understand me. But let's say you don't, just for, sakes here for the story. But my neighbor had a bootleg copy of Star Wars when it was already out at the movie theater. And you've heard people say, I've seen that movie 100 times. Now in streaming, you don't have to do that. But no, Star Wars is probably the only movie I've watched more than, 5 times. Now, anyway, so I would go over to my neighbor's house and we watched Star Wars after school 100 times. And specifically New Hope. So yes, today is May 4th and today is Star Wars Day. And yes, May the 4th be with you. I'm all in. Star Wars nerd geek, unabashedly so. And today is Star Wars Day, if you choose to celebrate these things.